Hello everyone, welcome to the Dad's Our Job podcast. My name is Rob and this week I'm flying solo as we give this week's FPL review. Now before I start, I want to be true to form and talk a little bit about the family. The 6 weeks holiday are over and I feel like normality is returning. However, normality looks different for us this year because my son, my eldest, Danny, he's going to secondary school, and my daughter Alea, she is about to start her second year of nursery. It's a big time in our house. Danny is nervous about going to secondary school, but he's really excited. So good luck, Danny. I hope you smash it. And to anyone else who have kids starting school, whether that be primary school, nursery or secondary school for the first time, I hope they smash it, and I hope that it is a place where they feel comfortable, safe and can enjoy learning. Okay, so let's get to the FPL review. How did my team do? Well, this week, Raya and the Dragon managed an 81 all out, which is the highest score of the week so far for me. It took me from a week 2 ranking of 3.6 million to a week 3 ranking of 2.1 million, which is a massive increase of 1.5 million. Really pleased with that, and I feel like I'm laying the groundwork to do well going into the rest of September and October. My overall target is the top 100,000. I've done it a few times and I feel confident that that's something I can achieve again this year. Obviously, silver linings would be in the top 50k so far for me because that is something that I have not been able to achieve. In the league that matters, the Dad's Our Job podcast FPL, I've risen to joint 6th with a total of 213 points, and I'm currently 28 points off first place. I'm still behind Callum, who is in the top 3, I think, and I'm chasing him down because it's his first year and I feel like I can't be having that, so I need to make sure that I chase him down. However, I am very much in front of Adam and the Dad's Our Job podcast set and forget team, so I'm confident that I can keep doing them over, but Callum is the next one in my sights. The league is massive actually. We've got lots of people on there and it's been really great to see people take it up. If you would like to join our league, you can do so using the following code PXWTLY. It would be great to have you on there and just grow the community. So if you fancy it, give us a join. Okay, so let's get into the team itself. Where did my points come from? This week I used my common sense and I captained Haaland, who bagged another hat-trick. 34 points overall, fantastic return, continuing to do incredibly well this season. Isak finally added to the assist that he had in game week 1 and bagged a 9-pointer. João Pedro with 8 points against Arsenal. And then we also had Salah, who scored 17 points against United. The rest of the points weren't great. I managed 2 from Rodgers, 2 from Gordon and Bruno. Porro, Hall and Munoz 1, and Henderson, who must have had a blinder, achieved 4 points. So overall, the points weren't bad, but I've got some issues that I'm going to have to tidy up. What I will say is, although it pains me, João Pedro has proved an incredible asset this year, even if it means that he returned against my beloved Arsenal, but at 5 million when I signed him and now worth 5.7 million, he's already registered 18 points. So in terms of the initial strategy that I set out, he has been a fantastic asset to own. When people set up their FPL teams this season, there were lots of drafts where people weren't having Haaland and having Salah, or having Salah and not having Haaland, or just not having both. And I'll be honest, I did have my first draft without both Haaland and Salah, and even when I did it, I was thinking to myself, this is madness. Why wouldn't you have the 2 best FPL assets in your team? So I redrafted it and I had both of them in my team. It did mean I was light in my defence, but in terms of what they've provided, I've clearly made the best decision, because now people are trying to find ways to shoehorn them into their teams where they don't have the money and they don't have the space. So the reason why I did put them in, they are points machines, but if they hit poor form, they can easily be moved to any other player in their bracket and free cash up in the process. So for me, it was a no-brainer. And at the moment, with both 41 points each, not including the captaincies that I've given them, they have returned more than I could possibly have asked. And I also think they've given me the platform to push forward now, especially as, with Salah's fixtures coming up, they are very favourable, and it just puts me in a good position going forward. The rest of the players I've picked were on the ease of their fixtures, or the way that their fixtures looked, and also from previous form in last season. So whenever I pick a team, I try to look at the next 3 or 4 fixtures and see what they look like on paper. It's not the sole reason that I pick a player, but it definitely helps. I also like to do the eye test thing when I'm watching Match of the Day or what's on the TV, and just thinking about who is going to provide the most potential for points. So, for example, Palace and Newcastle finished the season reasonably well, so I looked at their assets. In Crystal Palace's case, that hasn't quite worked out yet, and in Newcastle's case, it's been pretty hit or miss. At least I've had returns from Isak. Gordon I need to look at. And then also with Bruno consistently has good statistics or good XG, which makes you think that actually, although they aren't providing right now, they are good players to have in your team for the time being, or at least up until game week 6, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. Okay, so what's next for my team? Although it would be a popular move, I will not be wildcarding straight after the international break. I know that there will be lots of people who have saved up transfers. That's not me. I don't intend to wildcard straight away. I'm going to try and see out to at least game week 6. So this is where I am. With Pedro, he has Ipswich, Forest and Chelsea. Haaland has Brentford, Arsenal and Newcastle. Isak and Gordon have Wolves, Fulham and City. Salah has Forest, Bournemouth and Wolves. Rodgers, Everton, Wolves and Ipswich. Bruno, Southampton, Palace and Spurs. And then Porro has Arsenal, Brentford and United, finishing with Munoz and Henderson with Leicester, United and Everton. So I don't feel the immediate need to wildcard. I think I've got a team that's more than capable of covering those fixtures and scoring well. I think I rode out the initial rough start, and I feel like the next stages will be relatively easier to navigate. So the earliest right now I'll be wildcarding is game week 6, and even then, if I can hold off, I will. However, there are lots of player crossovers there, so I might have to do it regardless. Depends on how the transfers work out up to that point, and also after Man City, Arsenal's fixtures look a lot better, so I would really like to get Saka into the team, particularly because Arsenal scored 5 goals this season and Saka has been involved in all 5. So the FOMO is real, so I really need to find a way to move money around. It might involve dropping Isak to another striker and then upgrading Bruno, but that does depend on what the money is. But Bruno is relatively safe for at least 2 more game weeks, so we'll see if I can get there for when Arsenal play Leicester. While we're talking about what I'm doing next, I think the other thing I need to mention about myself is that I do not take hits. I take my transfer, or I save my transfer, and then I move on. I'm not a big fan of taking a hit for a potential reward. I think it's too much of a gamble, and when you start trying to navigate the top 100,000, 4 points can be a massive drop-off for you. So where I can, I do not take any hits. I haven't taken any intentional hits in the last 2 seasons, and it's fared me very well. What I will say though is that last season I accidentally took a hit of 70 plus points because I didn't press the wildcard option, and I ended up in 260,000s last year when the season finished, and it totally should have been much higher than that. So fingers crossed I do not make that rookie mistake again this season. But I'm capable of it. I'm capable of a howler. So fingers crossed I do not do that again. Cards on the table. My planned transfer this week is a boring one. Hall is not playing at Newcastle in the way that I'd hoped. I'd only put Hall in because Kwanzaa wasn't playing, and now I feel like I've wasted 2 transfers already this season. So I'm a little bit annoyed at myself, but I'm just going to do what I should have done. I'm going to take Hall out and I'm going to put Konate in. Liverpool have started the season incredibly well under Slot, and defensively they look really strong as well. So I'm going to put Konate in and pretty much have him as a starter up until the end of October when they play Arsenal. So even if I wildcard, I'm not sure I will be losing Konate from my team because he's nailed on at 5 million, which frees me up to use my money elsewhere. What I will say is though, even though that this is my planned transfer, I will not be making this transfer until literally just before the deadline. The reason for that is just in case any information comes out that means I need to spend my money elsewhere. And I'd advise this to you as well if you're new to FPL. If you're new to FPL, make your transfer as late as possible unless you've got a risk of injury or assets falling in price. I would wait, make sure you have all the information so that you know your player is going to start, and that way you've got the most chance of scoring as many points as possible. So yeah, just hold off if you can, and hopefully that way you'll maximise the potential for returns. With that being said, enjoy the international break if you can. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, and maybe just enjoy switching off from the football if not, because although it's been lovely to have the Premier League back, some of it has been rough to watch, and you know I'm still talking to Arsenal fans who are furious about Declan Rice's sending off when you've got players getting clotheslined in other games. So yeah, the PGML still has a lot to answer to, unfortunately, but that seems to be the story of the English Premier League. However, just as a reminder, join our Dad's Our Job podcast FPL League. The code is PXWTLY. Like I said, it would be lovely to have you on there and just increase the competition, really. And with that, it'd be great to have you on Threads as well. You can follow me at RobHorton86. Talk to me about football, talk to me about FPL. I love all of that, and it's great that the community on Threads is growing so well. Right, have a good couple of weeks, and I will see you next time.